Hi, Sarah. Welcome to 11 Questions.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a night owl. Well, I'm a bit of both actually. I think I like getting up early, going for a workout and having my own morning coffee. But I also like staying up till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I like both ways basically. I'm more of a night owl though, if I had to pick one.
How do you usually start your days?
So I've been on sabbatical for the past 2 months now, I think. Since then, I usually start my day by cycling to the gym and then I do a morning class and then I cycle back and then have my coffee and breakfast. So that's how I start my day. And I think it's a nice way to wake me up, I think, and then begin working. I think that's my best way to wake up.
And do you also follow a writing routine?
Don't have like a good routine actually. I kind of write whenever I need to write. I know some writers say they write every single day, and I don't think that's me. I've just handed in my second book last week, so I definitely haven't been writing. I've had a bit of a break. I think you can write wherever. Like I might really have a routine. Like sometimes I go to coffee shops to write, which I really enjoy doing, and I think that's a good way for me to like do focused work because I feel like I won't be like on social media in front of people. Like that's a good way to kind of keep myself accountable. Whereas if I'm at home, I will just distract myself. I'll start doing like laundry or something. Like I'll do anything but. And when I really enjoy writing, it's like really late at night. I think that's when I do like my best writing, just before bed, because I think everyone's kind of asleep. There's not much distraction, and that's when I do like the best writing, I think.
Who or what inspires your writing?
In terms of who, I hadn't actually read any of Sally Rooney when I wrote The Mismatch, but I think she's definitely inspiring like my second book. Just her writing style, I think, is just really like clever and really subtle. And I like that subtlety. She says a lot through like not much. She inspires my writing, I would say. In terms of what, I just think things that I felt growing up, kind of, especially as I grew up and I didn't really read much books by Iranian writers. And then I always felt kind of like lacking as I was reading. There's always things that I wanted someone to explore more of or kind of to see myself in books. So I kind of use that and like the things I wish I could read or wish I could read now, like I kind of use that in my writing, like things I don't feel like I've explored enough. I like to use that as my writing, and that's quite inspiring.
And do you think there's like anything that you find challenging in terms of staying creative?
I think so. I think there are lots of things. Like I think especially with social media and things like that, I think it's very easy to be distracted. I think there's always something else you can be doing, especially with writing. I think because writing is very solitary, like it's not something you can really do as a group. So I think it's very easy. You've got to keep yourself motivated. It can be quite difficult. And I also think with social media, you can compare yourself a lot, especially like as a writer, you can kind of compare your successes to someone else's. And I think that can be quite off-putting. That's something that I noticed with my book coming out is before I even had a deal or anything, I wasn't really comparing myself. I was just writing for fun. But once like it became like an actual book, I noticed myself comparing myself to other authors, thinking, well, their book is better than mine, or just like always in the back of your head, which can really like hinder your writing, I think. Thinking about these types of things, I think you should just kind of, if you can, block these things out. I think they can be hindering.
Did you always want to be a writer?
Yeah, since I was kind of a teenager, I was always writing. And I wrote my first book when I was, I think, 15 or 16.
Wow.
Like a first, yeah. But I tell everyone this story. I feel like I'm a broken record with it. But basically, I really loved Twilight at the time. And I still like it now. But I really wanted like essentially a British-Iranian Muslim version of it. So I kind of wrote that essentially. Well, it's not. It's more of like a fantasy romance, kind of inspired by kind of the whole Twilight dynamic. So I wrote my first book when I was like 15, 16. And then at university, I wrote a novella that was kind of inspired by One Day. I really like that kind of like that romance where, yeah, they just can never find their way together. And that's kind of like the thing that keeps you going. So yeah, I kind of have always been writing. And then once I graduated, I kind of felt I was in a bit of a lull in which I didn't really write too much. But yeah, I came back to it. But yeah, I've always known that I like writing. But I didn't actually think I would be a writer. A long-winded way of saying yes.
And when you are not writing, what else do you like to do?
See, I really like clothes and like thrifting. I like going to like charity shops and finding clothes, or going to like markets and like altering clothes. I really like fashion and things like that. I'm also doing pottery at the minute. So I like to do some like making kind of pots and things like that. I'm on like a long course doing that. I watch a lot of TV as well, and obviously read as well. But they're like the key things. Oh, also when I'm not writing, I've got more things. I also run my own magazine where the covers are behind me. I'm not sure if you can see, but I really enjoy kind of that aspect of like editing stories, and also like designing as well. So I like design the magazine.
If you could go on a coffee date with a fictional character, which character would you pick?
Oh wow. Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is I would pick probably right now I'd pick Connell from Normal People, just because I think he's really cute. I can't think, I mean, that is so not the most inspired one, is it? I feel like I should pick someone better, but I'm actually not sure. I think he would be the person, or maybe Marianne. Either of them, I think, would be quite nice.
You're really taken with the book, I guess.
I really like the book. I really am into the book. Like, as I'm writing my second book now, I'm really like, look, I keep reading. Like, I'll pick to a random page of the book, and I'll be like, oh, it's just such good characters. I really like the book.
And if you could go with the real person, dead or alive, who would you take for a coffee date?
Maybe I'd pick my grandma. She passed away last year. I think that'd probably want more. Yeah.
If you were to be deserted on an island, which 3 books would you take with you?
Normal People, as I'm sure you I like that book. I think I'd pick Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. Like, I really like that. I think it's like a really entertaining book. And My Dark Vanessa, I really like that book as well.
If you were to pick one interesting life experience to share with us today, what would you tell us?
In terms of life experience, I guess going back to what I spoke about earlier about comparison, I would essentially say try not to compare yourself to other people. And everything, I think, especially with social media, or just like everything's kind of not as it seems. I've noticed personally, if I see someone has all these successes online, and then if I actually speak to them, they're like quite unhappy, or like they're just like things aren't as they seem, essentially. And I think we all kind of present ourselves in a certain way. And we do that because I guess other people are presenting themselves a certain way. But I actually think, yeah, you can compare, and I think that can be really like damaging for your sense of self. So I think just remember this, like keep it in mind.